stop. You are lonelier right now than any human being in recorded history. Not because something is wrong with you, because something is wrong with the world you were handed. The U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a national epidemic. Not a therapist, the Surgeon General. He compared it to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But that's not even close to the worst part. The worst part is what it's doing inside your skull right now, while you watch this. And I don't mean emotionally, I mean structurally, genetically, permanently, unless you know what you're dealing with. 3 things first. 1. Loneliness raises your risk of early death by 26%. More than obesity. More than sitting all day. 2. It switches off the genes that fight cancer and infection. Your immune system stops protecting you and starts attacking you. 3. After just 10 hours alone, your brain enters the same starvation state as someone who hasn't eaten in 10 hours. Loneliness is not sadness, it is hunger. Stay until minute 12, because I'm going to show you the exact 3-week intervention that reverses the brain damage. It's free, it takes 4 minutes a day, and it starts working before you believe it will. You think loneliness means sitting in a quiet apartment on a Friday night. No plans, no texts, just you and whatever Netflix autoplay decides you deserve. That's what most people picture. That's not what the data shows. A 2020 Harvard study, psychiatrist Robert Waldinger, 80 years of data, 700 people, found that people in marriages, careers, and crowded social lives reported more chronic loneliness than people who lived alone. Being surrounded does not mean being connected. And that distinction, connection versus presence, is the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire video. Because what Waldinger's team found next is the thing that changes everything. It's coming in a few minutes. And you are not going to like it. For now, let's talk about what loneliness is actually doing to your hardware. You think loneliness makes you want more connection, more social, more open. Dr. John Cacioppo spent 20 years at the University of Chicago measuring lonely brains in fMRI scanners. He showed subjects photos of strangers, neutral faces, calm settings. Lonely brains activated threat detection regions 40% faster than non-lonely brains. Not slightly faster. 40%. Your brain is not reading the room. It's defending against it. That coworker who didn't respond to your Slack message, the friend who left you on red, the silence at the dinner table. Your brain isn't interpreting those as neutral. It's filing them as attacks. And you had no say in that decision. It happened before you were conscious of it. Here's what makes this so hard to escape. Loneliness should make you reach out more. Logic says, feel lonely. Find people. MIT neuroscientist Livia Tomova isolated participants for 10 hours. No social contact. Then she scanned their brains while showing them social images. The dopamine system activated in an identical pattern to people who hadn't eaten for 10 hours. Loneliness doesn't create sadness. It creates craving, the same circuitry as physical starvation. But here's the trap. The same hypervigilance that creates the craving poisons every attempt to satisfy it. You crave connection. You reach toward it. Your threat brain sabotages the interaction. The other person senses it. You confirm your fear. You pull back harder. Loneliness is not a mood you can think your way out of. It is a neurological loop that gets tighter the longer it runs. And most people spend years blaming themselves for something their brain is doing to them. The average American checks their phone 96 times a day, once every 10 minutes. You probably checked yours twice during that last fact. No judgment. I checked mine writing it, twice. And I already knew the fact. Every single one of those checks is your dopamine system doing a starvation scan, looking for a notification that proves someone is thinking about you. You are not addicted to your phone. You are starving. And your phone is the vending machine that almost never delivers. Stop for 1 second. Comment never if you can't remember the last time you sat somewhere for 20 minutes. No phone, no podcast, no TV, and felt completely okay. Never means it's been longer than you want to admit. Just type it. We'll come back to what that number actually means. That threat alarm that never turns off, your immune system hears it, and it starts making decisions. You know chronic stress is bad for you. Everyone knows this. Psychologist Steve Cole at UCLA went deeper than stress hormones. He measured gene expression, which genes are actively switching on and off, in chronically lonely people. 209 genes associated with inflammation and stress response switched on. 18 genes linked to antibody production switched off. Loneliness doesn't weaken your immune system. It reprograms it toward attacking you instead of protecting you. You don't need a diagnosis to be biologically compromised. You just need to feel isolated long enough. And 36% of Americans, 1 in 3, told researchers that's exactly how they feel. Serious loneliness. Every day. You think you sleep badly because you scroll too late or drink too much coffee after 2 p.m. Eddie Ben Simon at UC Berkeley tracked sleep architecture in lonely adults. Not sleep duration. Architecture. The quality of what happens inside the sleep. Lonely people spent 28 more minutes lying awake each night. And their deep sleep, the stage where your brain literally flushes toxic proteins and consolidates memory, was 17% shorter. Every single night. You wake up exhausted. Your patience is gone by 10 a.m. Your decision-making is impaired. Your emotional regulation is broken, which makes every social interaction that day harder. The loop from earlier? Sleep deprivation is one of the engines running it. Heart disease is about diet, genetics, inactivity. You know the list. Julianne Holt-Lundstad at Brigham Young University analyzed 148 studies, over 300,000 participants. She wasn't studying loneliness. She was studying premature death. Social isolation increases risk of premature death by 29%. Loneliness by 26%. To put that in terms your doctor would recognize, being lonely is more dangerous than being obese. It is nearly as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The Surgeon General didn't call this a crisis for optics. He called it a crisis because the mortality data forced him to. People are dying from this. Measurably, predictably, preventably, and almost nobody is talking about it at their January wellness check. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Reddit. We built the most connected communications infrastructure in human history, and it was supposed to fix this. Jean Twenge at San Diego State University analyzed 500,000 adolescents over a decade. Every additional hour of social media use produced a statistically significant increase in loneliness. Not a correlation, a dose-response relationship. More screen time, more loneliness. At every age, every income level, every demographic. Every time you open Instagram and see someone's vacation, or promotion, or perfect Sunday morning, your threat brain files that as social evidence you're falling behind. That's not jealousy. That's your rewritten neurology doing exactly what it was programmed to do. You are not weak for feeling it. You are human running software that was never designed for this environment. Work is supposed to anchor you socially. Colleagues, meetings, lunch. In 2023, Cigna surveyed 10,000 American workers. 58% reported feeling lonely at work, not occasionally, chronically. More than half the American workforce is spending most of their waking hours in a state of social isolation, surrounded by other people. And it's getting worse. The number of Americans reporting zero close friends, not one, zero, has tripled since 1990. Tripled. In 30 years. That person across from you in the Zoom call? Probably feeling exactly what you're feeling. Everyone performing connection. Nobody experiencing it. The whole office on mute, including the people who kept their cameras on. Silicon Valley spent roughly $3 trillion building tools to connect humanity. And the most common feeling reported by Americans at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, in a country where your phone has a better processor than the Apollo 11 mission, is completely, utterly, scrolling through strangers' dinner photos alone. We built the highway. Nobody's home. Quick. I need a real number from you. How many people could you call right now? Not text. Call. If tonight was the worst night of your life, comment the number. 0, 1, 2, 5. Whatever it is. No shame in any answer. The number matters less than whether you've ever stopped to count. Physical pain and emotional pain are different things. Everyone knows this. Doctors treat them differently. Insurance codes them differently. Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA put people in an fMRI scanner and had them play a simple ball-tossing game. Partway through, the other players stopped passing to them. No explanation. Just exclusion. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the region that processes physical pain, activated identically during social exclusion as it does when you break a bone. Your brain registers being left out of a group chat with the same neural signature as a fracture. When you say being ghosted hurts, you are being medically accurate. This is not sensitivity. This is not being dramatic. This is neuroscience. And here's the kicker. Researchers gave a separate group Tylenol before the exclusion experiment. Acetaminophen reduced social pain scores. An over-the-counter painkiller blunted the sting of rejection. Because to your brain, it is pain. You know cortisol is the stress hormone. You've heard this. Cacioppo's lab measured cortisol levels in lonely adults across multiple consecutive days. Not during stressful events, just baseline. Morning, midday, evening. Lonely adults carried cortisol levels 20 to 30% above normal throughout the entire day. Not spikes, baselines. Their body's emergency response system was running continuously, 24 hours, with nothing external to fight. That's why you feel exhausted doing nothing. That's why the Sunday scaries hit before you've done a single thing wrong. Your body is running an emergency response to a threat with no location. You can't fight it. You can't outrun it. And your brain won't let you ignore it. Because to your ancient threat detection hardware, isolation means death. Remember the Harvard study I mentioned at the beginning? Waldinger. 80 years, 700 people. The longest study of adult life ever conducted. You'd expect the findings to be about diet, exercise, genetics, the single strongest predictor of health, happiness, and longevity across 8 decades of data was not wealth, not fame, not career success, not fitness, the quality of close relationships. That's it. The people who stayed most connected to others lived longer, got sick less, stayed sharper longer, and reported more life satisfaction at 80 than anyone else in the study. Connection is not a lifestyle feature. It is not a nice to have. It is the infrastructure of a functioning human life. And we've been treating it like a reward we'll get to on the weekend. If the work slows down, if things calm down. If we get through this stretch, the stretch is your life, and you're spending it waiting to live it. I told you loneliness was doing something structural inside your skull. Now you know exactly what. 209 genes, 17% less deep sleep, cortisol running at emergency levels 24 hours a day, your amygdala reading neutral faces as threats, your immune system pointed inward, and I promised you a 3-week intervention. Free. 4 minutes a day. Starts working before you believe it. Here it is. It's not go to therapy, not join a club, not put your phone down. Those are outcomes, not levers. The lever is what psychologist Barbara Fredrickson at UNC Chapel Hill calls deep moments of positivity resonance. Genuine eye contact and real exchange with another human, even a stranger, produces measurable drops in loneliness biomarkers. Not deep conversation, not shared history. Micro moments. A real exchange with the barista, not thanks, but an actual sentence. Eye contact and a real smile with someone in the Trader Joe's checkout line. One genuine question to a coworker, not how are you as a greeting, but a question you actually want the answer to. 3 of these a day. Cacioppo's research shows the hypervigilance response begins to reverse within 3 weeks. Not because your life changed, because you gave your brain enough new data to update its threat assessment. Your brain built the trap. Your brain holds the key. You just have to give it evidence. And if that sounds too simple, I get it. We live in a country where people spend $200 a month on supplements, $40 on a cryotherapy session, and track their sleep with a $350 watch. And the intervention with the most peer-reviewed evidence is, look someone in the eyes and mean it. The irony is not lost on me. It probably shouldn't be lost on Whoop either. You are not broken for feeling lonely in a world full of people. You are not weak for struggling with connection in the most isolated era in human history. You are not behind. You are a human being running 200,000-year-old social hardware in a world that was built 3 years ago. The mismatch is the disease, and the cure is older than the problem. 3 micro moments. Today. That's it. That's the start. The number you typed, the people you'd call. That is the most honest health metric you have. Not your resting heart rate, not your body fat percentage. That number. Comment it below. Whatever it is. Because right now, in this comment section, there are tens of thousands of people who typed the same number you did. And that matters more than the algorithm does. Next video, Robert Waldinger's 80-year Harvard study found that the attachment pattern you formed before age 5 is still predicting your relationship outcomes today. At work, in friendships, in every conversation you have. We'll show you which of the 4 patterns you have, and the one that's almost impossible to change without knowing it exists. See you there.